So here, the first thing I'm going to show you is if you're changing your pads. So if you're changing your pads on the caliper, you just want to release that top bolt that my finger's touching. That's all you need to remove if you're just changing the pads on your vehicle, on this specific vehicle. You flip your caliper down like that, change all your hardware. You put your piston and the caliper back in, either with a brake caliper tool, and if you don't have one, you can use a channel rock, just like that. Squeeze that right back up in there, put all your stuff back, and go in reverse. It's that simple. Now, once your pads is back, sometimes it comes with an indicator that lets you know when your brake pads is low. That's that little silver piece there. So you will want that part of the pad on the inside. So once you get that on the inside, you just reverse the process, put it back, bolt it up, job's done. Now, if you're removing your rear wheel bearing, you want to release those two screws holding on the rotor, and then you want to remove the caliper. So you're going to remove these two bolts, that one there, and then there's another one on the bottom of it. You might see me get a look of it. That one right there. And that'll take your caliper off. Sometimes your rotor gets stuck due to rust, so you just want to tap along that where I have the arrows, and just turn it and tap the wheel, and it'll loosen the rust up to make your rotor, to let your rotor slide off. Once your rotor is off, and you want to remove your rear wheel bearing, there's 4 bolts. You can't see them, but the arrow is indicating where the 4 bolts is at. So you're just going to remove those 4 bolts, unplug the wheel bearing, the plug for the ABS, and this is how it should look when it's off. Those 4 holes you see is where your 4 screws is located. You take those off, and then if you're just changing your wheel bearing, you just do everything in reverse, putting it back. Now, if for any reason you have to change your spindle, which is that red aluminum looking big gray part, you're going to hit those 3 screws, remove those 3 screws, remove that lower lateral arm screw, which is right there, remove the upper lateral arm, that's the lower control arm screw. You're going to need to remove that also. And then that screw right there. Once you do that and remove all of those, that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws in total. Your rear spindle will come right off, but you really need to change those. I had to change this one because it was broken. The car was in a bad accident. And then putting it back is just doing the same thing in reverse. You might have a little problem squeezing it and getting the things to go in, but just play with it and they'll go back in. Give them a little tap with some hammers and line up your screws right, they'll go in. You might just have to fight a little bit. Now, that's the lower lateral arm and the upper lateral arm. If you're changing those, you're going to have to remove those 2 screws also. Easy breezy. Now, if you're going to change your lower control arm, your rear control arm, you're going to need to release this rear sway bar link. And the best way to do it is hit it with a gun from the bottom. Make sure your car's jacked up high enough and hit it with an impact gun from the bottom so the screw can zip right off. And then you have that screw back here, that screw in the back where you see the arrow at. Release that screw, and then your control arm should, actually, after you release the strut screw, it should come right off. And the strut screw is right where the spindle, the screw for the spindle was. I'll show it to you right there. Now, there you go. That screw there, you take that off, and your control arm will fall right off, and then you just put that back in reverse if you're doing the control arm. And if you're taking the strut off, it's the same thing. You're going to release those 2 screws up there, and then that screw there. And then everything is just back in reverse. That's basically the whole job of everything. It's a quick basic rundown. I'm not trying to make things hard or complicated, and that's just in case. That's just to get your spring out if you need to get your spring out. Once that sway bar link is off, you got plenty of play to do what you need to do. And then after everything is done, man, it's just the process of putting everything back in reverse, man. Very simple. Everything is easy here. I think I'm probably going to show the lateral arm places. Yeah, see, that's the shock absorber, and then and that's for the spindle. And then you have for the lateral arms. But yeah, that's basically the job right there. It's very simple. I hope it's explaining itself easy. And then, you know, everything just goes in reverse, man. If you like the video, if the video came, if it was handy, if it was helpful, see, that's the lateral arm bolts. Drop a like, man, and drop a sub. And if you got any questions, man, just hit me up. I do my best to try to respond to questions immediately. Peace.